ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of the Automated Millionaire video/podcast. Hi, I'm Mikkel Pitzner, and I am known as the Automated Millionaire. I'm the creator and founder of its program and its coaching. I help small and medium-sized businesses, and I help the business owners make more money with the businesses and without them having to work harder. In actual fact, by the system that I implement or help them implement, they'll actually be working easier and have a much more smoothly run operation. We are currently in our second series of episodes, and in this particular series, we are looking at the mistakes that business owners make. These mistakes often cost us a lot of money, and that's why I'm highlighting them. I have been a culprit of making a lot of these mistakes, and furthermore, I've seen a lot of other business owners make these mistakes. If I can help you avoid making them altogether, you'll be saving yourself from a lot of headaches and a lot of money, and certainly a lot of wasted money. You might actually even also be making a lot of money. Now, if indeed that you are doing some of these mistakes, my hope is that maybe by listening in or watching on to this episode and so on, maybe you'll recognize that you need to make an adjustment in your business or in the way that you handle things. This particular episode here will be looking at a very important topic. In fact, so important that I had a discussion about it this morning with my wife. The topic we'll be looking at is actually that of setting expectations. Very often in our lives, whether it's in our personal life or indeed in business, we fail to set an expectation for what it is that we expect to see happen of the other person. Or if we are supposed to deliver something upon somebody else, then we fail sometimes to set an expectation for what they can expect to get from what it is that you are promising. So for instance, when we are dealing with our employees, what we want to do and make sure of it that we set a certain expectation for the level of performance so that they will come and be able to report upon that performance and live up to the expectations that you have. I usually say with a lot of the business owners that I've helped over the course of years that when you don't set expectations, things will tend to be whatever. And what you'll typically find is that whatever is not going to be a result that you truly care for. In fact, it's going to be a very mediocre result. So again, we want to set very specific expectations. Now, in the system that I use and implement with businesses, we set a certain amount of metrics. We set a certain amount of measured outcomes that we would like to see in given time periods. So in other words, we make it very specific. So let's give an example on that. If we're talking about, let's say, our sales staff, we want to set a very specific expectation for how many sales calls are we making, let's say, a day. How many leads are we following up? How many bids are we sending out? How many follow-up communication pieces do we have for every single opportunity? And how many leads do we turn into actual sales? So how many do we convert? And then, of course, at the end of the day, we'll have, how much dollars and cents did we actually sell? And then, ideally, how much are we standing to making gross profit out of those sales? So in other words, it becomes very, very specific. When we talk about a production company or a service industry company or something, we want to have similar kind of very specifically set expectations. So for instance, in production, it may be how many widgets are we producing on this machine every single hour, every single day. Whenever I've been in a business that was really struggling and time became much of an essence of making real true results and making real extra cash very fast, very soon, I would actually narrow the time frame for what my measurement were. In fact, for some production companies that were really, in the 11th hour of their time, maybe very, very close to bankruptcy and so on, I would set an expectation and a measurement milestone for every 15 minutes. And every 15 minutes, I would go and say, are we on track? And you'll be surprised about how quickly people align themselves with that performance. Of course, you don't set a performance that is impossible for them to make, but you do want to set a performance, both of them and for that matter of yourself, that actually demands a little bit extra of you, especially if you're in the 11th hour of your business and you really need to make some extra results. For our normal life of business, when we have a good sound business and when things are going well, I still would say that you always want to set the bar high, because it seems to be that when we are shooting for the moon, maybe you don't hit the moon, but maybe you reach one of the stars instead. Or is it the other way around? Anyways, I believe that when we don't set expectations, people will do whatever. And a lot of people would think that, you know what, they're delivering upon what they're supposed to do. They come at the work, you know, they show up in time, they don't leave before time, they sit by the phone, they do their things. They go through the progression of the assignments that they have. But does it really mean that they're pushing the needle? Does it really mean that they're really truly performing? Are they making enough calls? Are they making as many calls as they could be doing? Are they pushing production to the level that they should be doing, and so on? If you want the right performance out of your business, whatever it is your business is doing, you need to set expectations. Very, very important. When I have been out as a business consultant, I always set as an expectation for the clients also. I set an expectation, what can you expect of me? So for instance, when I talk about my current offering, so my programs of, you know, the Automated Millionaire Business System, for instance, which shows you the entire system that I have, all the tools and the implementation, the coaching calls, and the lessons and the system that makes your business easier to run and actually makes you more money and helps you find more cash in your business. Well, I want to set an expectation. I speak about two main goals that I focus on, which may be vastly different than a lot of business consulting companies. Because the way I see it, a lot of business consulting companies, yes, they come with measures that are really good, from textbook correct measures and implementation of standard procedures and so on. And it's not that I disregard things like of that nature altogether, but my first and primary focus on is to make more money. And I also have, alongside of that focus, my second focus, which is with speed. So in other words, I have a very key focus on making more cash, and I have a very key focus on the speed of which we get a result. So case in point for most of my clients at this point, you know, when I sell the Automated Millionaire Business System, that is my premier product. It's my premium program that has more or less the entire system. So it also comes at a very high investment. Yes, it's a great return on investment when you actually implement the lessons and the learnings and the tools and so on in your business. You'll get far more out of it than you actually invested. But my primary key focus for you at first is that you can make your investment with me back as speedily as possible. Now, can I promise that you'll make it overnight? No, absolutely not. I mean, every business is different, and I don't also know, your sense of work ethics, and will you actually be coachable and take the lessons and actually truly implement it? Because you see, you can learn all the right tools and all the right lessons and have all the right knowledge, but if you don't implement it and you just go about business the way you've always done it, you'll likely end up with the same results as you already are gotten. So ladies and gentlemen, we need to be able to set an expectation, and when I then set an expectation with you, for instance, before considering you making an investment in me, I need to make sure that you understand that, well, this works, and I know it works because I have implemented it with hundreds of businesses, and I know my colleagues have implemented it with over 300,000 businesses, and the reporting result has been a 97 to 98% success rate. And that success rate has been measured as in that the client would have received a return on their investment of at least $2 for every dollar that they spent with the consulting company. But see, I know it works, but I also know that when you don't do what's necessary on your end, you're probably not going to get much out of your investment in terms of dollars. So that's important that I set that expectation that, you know what, if you want to get the right result, you have to invest not only the time in learning the skills, the insights and use of tools, but you actually have to implement it and follow through with it on an ongoing basis with your team. So again, in this system here, we do a lot of these metrics and so on. They set expectations for our people. This is what we're teaching in our programs, that how you set them up, how you find that, and how that translates into real cash so that you actually make that more money that I keep promising you to be able to with the program. But like I said, you also want to set the expectation with everything else you do, because when you don't, sometimes people, they will make their own expectations, and then all of a sudden you don't live up to those expectations, and they feel like, you know what, you deceived them, you did not deliver upon what you promised. Just like I'm doing now, I'm telling you, you will get the right results when you take the lessons, when you implement it, when you follow through, when you do it continuously with your team. You will have a positive return on your investment, and that positive return is gonna be more than likely many fold of your investment. However, the expectation is when you don't implement it, or let's say you implement it, because I've seen that too, that we implement the system, and then soon enough, when the business consultant is no longer with the client, no longer looking over the shoulder, the business owner goes back and reverts back to same old procedures and daily routines as before, and soon enough they get the same, typically speaking, mediocre result as it did before. So let's wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this is valuable for you. It's super critical. It's important that we're setting expectations so that people may understand what they truly can expect from what it is you're promising, but also that they will live up to what they need to do on their end. When we are doing it in our business, well, it's not, it has a grave importance that we set an expectation. Well, how many widgets are we producing? How many sales calls are we making happen? How many dollars and cents do we expect of you to come? I see oftentimes that here in the States that we hire people and we give them some basic instructions and so on, and then very often we don't really set a true expectation, and then a few weeks later now we kind of let them go and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry it didn't work out. But the failure is really a lot that there never was an expectation really set out. So it was up to them to kind of feel like, when is enough enough? When you want to drive the right result for your business, especially when you want to get a better result, you need to map it out very clearly. Again, my business program, the Automated Millionaire Business System, will actually show all of these things. It becomes very easy. It becomes actually something that your team members, to the greatest degree of the sense, will actually do on their own or with your guidance, depending on how involved do you want to be in the daily activities, or do you want to become more and more of an absentee owner and maybe pursue other things in your life. Either way, the choice is yours, but the system here really works. I hope this served you well. I hope that you are good at setting expectations. It's clearly very important. It's important in our business for sure. It's also important in our outside and private life. Please hit the like button. I really would appreciate that. I also hope that you'll subscribe to the channel so that I will see you in tomorrow and future episodes, where I hope to bring you more value so that you can keep making more money in your business, so you can do more good. This was Mikael Pitsner, also known as the Automated Millionaire. Thank you so much.